Hello and welcome to this week's video. I thought this week, as a change from doing the normal things I do, I'll have a go at doing a dragon. So I've brought you along with me and we'll see how this gets on, and let me know what you think. It's just the first of the dragons. I do have another one I may tackle later on, but it's a lot more complicated than this one. This is a nice simple one to begin with, and I think even a beginner could probably have a go at it. The drawing, as always, is in the description box below. And I hope you enjoy it. Let's get on and we'll have a go at it. So in this one we're using mainly varying shades of blue, and what I'd like to do is start the outside edge with the darkest blue I've got. So I'm going to just sort of frame the whole picture in this blue. You can use what I have here is tops or roving, or you can use carded wool. This whole thing is fine in either. And all I'm doing is building up the edges in this dark blue because I'm just going to have it as a underlaying outline for the picture, and then I'm going to build lighter blue over the top of it. So we're just going to go all around the edges. I'm not worried that at the moment, if you look, you can see needle holes and things in it because I'm going to cover it all over anyway. And I find when I do my drawing pictures with wool, they tend to even out and disappear anyway over time. So I never really have much of a problem. It might be because I use a finer needle, I'm not sure. But anyway, so that's what I've done. I've literally just gone around the outside in all of that. I've trimmed it as well, just because it's neater. And now I have a slightly, this is kind of almost like a bluey green. The outside is the dark blue, and then the other blues I have are the kind of bluey greens. It's the best I can describe it, really. When you first look at them, they look blue, but there is a kind of a green edge to them, I suppose. But I'm going to go all the way up, and I'm not worried that I'm covering over the dragon, my usual thing, because if you've drawn this on and you haven't got the drawing that I've given you, then felt the dragon first, it's fine, and then do the rest of it. You'll obviously have to do it around the dragon, but you could do the rest of it afterwards. But if you have managed to download my drawing, then don't worry about it, just go over the whole thing like I'm doing. And we're going to take this same colour all the way up and round as well. The reason I pull it apart and fold it over is that I don't end up with a blunt end where I've cut it. So whatever you've got you can draw around. This is what I'm doing. I'm using this bit of tape I've got to actually go round with my wool. So what we're just basically doing is putting a moon behind the dragon, so you can really have it any size you like, but it wants to be a good size. It wants to at least be like this so that you've got quite a lot of the dragon's head inside the moon shape. So whatever you've got that you can draw around, it's fine. And if you haven't got anything of the right size, then go ahead and do your best to make a circle. You'll be fine either way. So I'm just felting around the outside. What I made the moon colour with first is it's just some cream colour that I've got, basic, it's called core wool, but it's any wool, it's just a cream colour. I felted the tape on as well. So I'm just going to tidy this up and make it a little bit more circular. I got a bit of sticky stuff on the tape, on the needle where I stuck it in the tape by accident. So then I'm just going to fill the whole of this central part in the same cream colour I did the outline. Because I have this weird greeny coloured base felt, I have to make sure I do this really well with this light colour, because otherwise you can see it through. So I'm very thorough with this. And as I say in every video, although you don't see me do it, I do felt this done really well. So make sure you do. Now I'm just going around the outside of it now. It didn't make a great deal of difference, but I liked it, with some white. Just thinly, I just wanted to lighten up the outside edges of this moon. But this is optional, and honestly, unless you know it's there, you wouldn't notice really. So now I'm going to cut the basic dragon out. If you download the template, just make sure it's the size that you want when you've printed it. This picture here is about 6 inches by 7 inches. So you see what I've done, I've ignored the wings and everything else. I've just cut out the very basic shape of this little dragon, and now I'm going to go around the whole of the outside of him in this different shade of bluey green. You obviously can pick any colour you like for this, you don't have to use blues. I wanted to keep it similar just for a change, and we don't use blues other than the sky, which I use it a lot, but we don't use blues very much, and I thought it'd be a nice way to do that for a little bit. So I'm literally just using it as an outline and just going all the way around, and then we'll fill it in a minute. I'm not miraculously lucky with this dragon staying in place. It's actually got white pins holding it in, that you can't see them. I'd just like to sound really clever, but that would not be true. They're pinned. So don't throw that away once you've done it, just in case you need to put it back over or anything. So now all I'm doing is I'm just going back over the lines I did as an outline, just to make sure they're tacked down well, and then we'll fill in the centre with the colour that we've used for the outline. Just take your time with this bit and just follow it all the way around. In case I forget to say as well, in a minute, have a look at the head, because I did go back and I just tucked in the lines on the sides just to give it a little bit more shape, because I didn't like the way it was just coming down to a kind of round end. I wanted it to have a bit of a, if you think of a horse's head, they have an underlip bit that kind of sticks down, so I wanted to have a little bit more shape on the head, but you'll see in a minute. I didn't do anything special, I just used the needle to pull the edges in a little bit. So I'm just filling the whole thing in. What I'm doing here as well is, as you can see, I'm coming down for the legs, but I'm making sure I don't just do the tail and the legs at the same time. I'm trying to keep each block separate. So I've done the body, then I've done the legs, and then I'm doing the tail, because that means that the wool that I'm doing for the tail will sit on this side of the legs. And even though it's the same colour, it does make a difference. And it's easier for you because you'll be able to see automatically where the tail is, and you haven't got to worry about trying to put the template back on and find it. But if I get my arm out of the way in a minute, you'll see what I mean. Can you see where, even though the tail is all one thing, you can see where the tail is? And that's because I did that as a separate part. So now all I've got is some black, and I've mixed it with the blue that I've used as for the dragon, and I'm just using that to put in a little bit of shade so I can see where the legs are. Really think of it as if I'm drawing the outline of the legs, but it's just obviously it's thicker than that because it's going to be some shading. Again, make sure you don't go over the tail with the shading. And if you do this fairly thinly, it can blend into the dragon itself as it goes up onto its body. You don't want any harsh lines anywhere with this, other than really down between the front leg and the back leg, where it would be a bit sharper. Once it comes up onto the body, you want to do it thinly. Sorry about my hands being in the way, I'm still trying to work out camera angles. So again, this is just some shading. It's exactly the same colour, just like I said just now, just pop it on thinly. That way you've got more control over it. And this is only going, the shading's only going on the back part of the dragon here. So this shading, obviously you can carry on down onto its tail, all in one go like this. What we're really doing is giving the dragon some shape, like a curved shape, I mean, not just flat. There you go, you see I've changed the shape of its face a little bit. So all I've done is use the needle to tuck in bits. So this is obviously the part where I cut the dragon out, and I've cut the wing out, so I can now use that part as a template as well. And I'm using the same colour of the body of the dragon, but if you wanted to do different coloured wings, you could certainly do that. So we just need to make sure that the edges are tidy when we pull the template off, which is what I'm doing now. I'm just making sure I've tucked in all the loose ends as I go along. So this is the same colour of the body of the dragon, but I've mixed it with a bit of white. So now we're going to go around and give it a bit of highlight. Again, nice and thinly. If you didn't want to do all this shading, you could leave the dragon just as a silhouette without doing all the extra bits, and just maybe pop an eye on him. So this one is nice if you're reasonably new to felting, if you haven't done many pictures, or even any. I mean, you can certainly give this a go as well, even if you're a beginner, because there's not too much to it, not really. I think the most well, not complicated, the most fiddly part is this shading. And as I say, if you're not comfortable, you could leave it off or just do bits of it. But it's a nice one to have a practice on. Now I'm going to work on the wing because I want to give the wing a little bit more depth and texture to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just outlining it to start with, where I want to do the bones in a minute. You'll see what I'm doing. I'm going to do the bones that hold the wing up. But first of all, what I've done here is I've got some very dark, the dark blue that I've done on the outside of the picture. I'm now going into, if you can think of it as webbing, between some fingers, I'm just darkening down where the webbing would be, and then we're going to go and put the bony fingery kind of parts on the wings in a second. Now, can you see what I'm doing here? So these are the bone parts that spread out and hold the wing together. So I've got some light and some dark, and I've rolled it between my fingers to make long stringy bits, and I'm taking them all back to the point I am at now where I'm rolling. That's like the wrist of, or I guess it's be the wrist of the dragon. So all the bones that hold the dragon's wing out are going back to that point. There's only one, which you'll see in a minute, that doesn't. So all the rest need to go back to that pivot point. So if you consider what I'm doing, maybe like putting the fingers on the dragon's wing. So take everything back to that, and then there's only one in a minute that I will put anywhere else. And these parts as well, I'm extending beyond the wing flap, so they stick out a bit. But this is nice, it gives a bit of texture to the wing. And you see I'm just, and again back to that pivot point, and I'm just keeping it rolled and taking it down to the other bit there. And by rolling it and doing that, it sticks off the rest of the wool just a little bit. It's raised up a bit. So this one here is the one that isn't going back to that pivot joint. This is just going onto the main bone part that holds the wing up. And then once I've got it up to there, I will take it along to the pivot point, and I'm just going to build that knuckly wristy bit up a little bit. But you'll see what I mean in a sec. So I've taken it up to the bone, now I'm taking it along that bone to the pivot point, and then I'm just going to make like a little knotty bit with it, if you watch, and just put it all over there. There we go. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do on his tail, so I put this on first, and then I thought it just looks like a fish tail. So I do come back later and try and make it look less like a fish tail. So when you come to do this, if you have a better idea for a tail, you know, go mad and have an interesting tail. Now I've used an orange, but again you could carry on doing this in blue if you want a silhouette. And this is going to be the little spiky horn bits that run off his face and down his back. But you can have these in any colour you like. And I did mix two browns together, or that orangey colour and a brown together, so that I had a bit of variety on the horns. They weren't just a flat orange. And now we're just doing his eye. I used just a blob of green I had. But again, you could do green, orange, red. Just a blob, and then you've got a slit in black, like a stripe down it like that. And now I'm just putting an eyelid over, really. But again, if I'm rolling it like this, raises it off the page a little bit, and you get a little bit of depth to it. And now I'm using some of the dark blue from the outside, and I'm just tucking it underneath the line I just put in, just so I've got a bit of shading as well. And then in a minute as well, I will use that dark colour and outline the eye. I shall go right round the eye itself. And of course we need to give him a nostril and a mouth as well. So there you go, you can have as many of these little spiky spine bits as you want. I brought them down his back, and then I started to put them on his tail. I didn't take them right to the end of his tail, but I put a few down there as well. And then I do put a piece on the end of his tail and try and make it look less like a fishtail. I'm not convinced I succeeded, but I gave it a go. So now I've put in a blue horn coming off the top of his head. What I don't show you, because I forgot to do it and I went back and did it afterwards, is I put 2 more in. So if you have a look in a minute when I finish, I'll show you the picture again and you'll see what I mean. I've added 2 more of the blue ones onto his head. So it's just the same colour blue that I did the body, and then I just mixed, like I did before, some light blue and some light blue and dark blue together, and I made this ridge. And now I'm just going around his eye in the dark blue I said about. And outlining it in this colour will make it pop a bit more, as you can see. And I just took that little strandy bit, sort of up the horn a bit. Just use it as a bit of shading behind the blue horn I put up. And this again is just some shading to define where the legs are, things like that. While I'm thinking about it as well, I'll mention that from May, I can't say every Tuesday, but a lot of the Tuesdays in May, I'm going to start putting up other felting videos. I'm going to keep all the painting videos on a Friday, so if you're not interested in any of my other felting or having a chat vlog-like thing we were talking about before, that's going to be on a Tuesday. It'll be most Tuesdays, depends if I've got the time, depends what paintings I'm creating. But they're going to be on a Tuesday. And if you've seen the needle holder I'm using on here, that one with the little fish in the top, the first video on the Tuesday, I think it's this, let me just check, yeah, the 6th of May. That'll be the a little instructional video on how I made that. So most Tuesdays I'll put something up, but it's going to be much more relaxed, less tutorial kind of thing, and much more kind of just, this is what I'm felting, you know, this is what's going on, all that sort of stuff. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's a nice simple project, it's not too hard, it's just maybe the shading if you're not used to doing it, but otherwise it's good fun. Don't forget you can do it in any colour you like and leave bits in and take bits out as you wish. But have fun, have a go, and I will see you on the next video next Friday or Tuesday if you want to pop along and find out how to make that little needle holder I showed you in the picture. Okay, thank you very much. See you then. Bye for now.